Welcome to The Ringers Mock Draft 2.0, presented by State Farm. With me are our draft gurus, Kevin O'Connor, staff writer, Danny Chau, Quintel Woods aficionado, I would say.
Yeah, 2002, never forget.
We're doing this, I think, like 3 weeks since the last one. A lot of things have changed. The draft combine happened, a lot of scuttlebutt. Specifically at the top of the draft board, we have a lot of debate going on between Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, and maybe some other guys at the top of the board. So let's get right into it. Phoenix Suns with the number 1 pick. We're going to go with Danny, and he's going to do a combination of what the Suns might do versus what he thinks they should do. So Danny, who do they go with number 1?
DeAndre Ayton.
Okay.
So there was a report on Wednesday saying that a lot of the core Suns guys, Devin Booker, Josh Jackson, were there watching Ayton's Suns workout. And apparently they're out, planning on spending some time together, maybe watching the finals together. So don't want to really break up this budding chemistry. So,
Ayton doesn't complete it, but he certainly adds a good new big man element. They're a young, appealing core with Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton called them the next Kobe Shaq, which seems a little bit hyperbolic, but it's certainly intriguing nonetheless.
And that's a change from our 1.0 mock draft, which we had Doncic going 1 directly after the draft lottery. And so the Kings now on the board, do they go right to Doncic?
I think you got to go Luka here. You do. I mean, we all have him ranked number 1 on the Ringers NBA Draft Guide. Luka Doncic is a guy who can complement De'Aaron Fox, who can enhance some of the other bigs on their roster like Willie Cauley-Stein and Harry Giles. I think Luka is a franchise-changing player.
And at this point with the Kings, you're looking at just building a solid foundation. And I don't think you can get any more solid than a guy who's won EuroLeague MVP, was a Eurobasket all first team.
He's pretty much everything.
He's done everything. Yeah, exactly.
From where he is today, projecting ahead, he's easily somebody who can become a playmaking, enhancing player that can also become a little bit of a scorer too.
Right, and the Kings need that because the Kings need everything.
Yes.
And so now on the board, the Atlanta Hawks. Danny, who are you going with?
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay.
I like the fit because I think he fits with literally every NBA team in the league. I think Jackson is just a perfect guy to kind of build your team around. He's the best 3-and-D big man of this class. He's also the youngest of all of the upper tier centers. An elite block rate, fantastic 3-point shooter. What else do you need to start a modern NBA team?
There's no doubt he has a foundation to have a long career as a two-way guy. It's really, to me, what matter he reaches on the offensive end of the floor compared to a guy like DeAndre Ayton.
Okay, and so there are a lot of bigs still left on the board here. The Grizzlies, obviously, their best player is their center. So do they go big as well, or do they go somewhere else?
I think what the Grizzlies probably end up doing here is someone like Marvin Bagley from Duke.
Okay.
Bagley's somebody who can help their team immediately. Bagley's going to be able to come in and score the ball for the Memphis Grizzlies. And plus, look, they're going to get Marc Gasol back. They're going to get Mike Conley back. They have some talent on their team where Memphis is in a position where rather than taking somebody to gamble on, a younger guy like a Jackson who's going to take time to develop, Marvin Bagley can help them immediately while also providing long-term potential with the post-Marc Gasol, post-Mike Conley era.
What about Dallas? Now you have 2 bigs going right before them. Ayton goes 1. Do they go with the last guy on our list, Kevin O'Connor's new best friend?
Forgive me, boss. But yeah, I think they go Mo Bamba.
Okay. Mo Bamba, Texas's own. This guy is incredibly long, shoots threes. What else can you tell me about him?
I mean, we have to start with his 7'10" wingspan because it's just, that is maybe the most unprecedented physical outlying feature we've had in decades. I think his workouts have been kind of promising. You get to see a little bit of what he's been trying to develop. He's starting to shoot that 3. His stroke looks a lot better. With a guy with that amount of length, you're obviously looking at huge defensive potential.
I think Bamba certainly has a foundation, again, to be a guy who's a great rim protector and can offer a little bit of rim running for you. Whether that shot develops to a level where teams are going to let him shoot threes, we'll find out. It's going to take time.
All right, so we have the Magic coming up at 6. They already have about 20 centers, and all the good ones have come off the board right now. So where do they go from here?
I'm not a big fan, but Trae Young, point guard from Oklahoma.
Yes.
All right. You can't deny Trae Young's scoring upside as a point guard in this draft. Obviously, everybody saw him at Oklahoma last year when he was just lighting it up over the first half of the season. Can stroke threes. He's probably a better three-point shooter than his percentages were at Oklahoma because of his shot selection. So if you're the Orlando Magic, you're looking at him as a fit alongside Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac, some two long defensive players, athletic players that can cover some of Young's deficiencies on the defensive end of the floor, while enhancing Young's playmaking, scoring, and shooting using him on and off the ball.
So we got the Bulls coming up after them. They pretty much tanked the entire season along with the rest of these teams. Didn't do as well in that regard. They had that stretch where they played a little bit too well. So where would they go?
Let's go with Miles Bridges.
Okay, this is a bit of a turn.
He's one of the more unique players in the draft in that it's really hard to pigeonhole him into being a 3 or a 4. He's a 6'7", extremely explosive guy who can kind of fit in with a lot of different schemes. He projects to be a 3-and-D player. Every team needs more 3-and-D guys.
I guess it comes down to what the Bulls need, right? Do they need a guy like that next to Zach LaVine if they're going to keep him?
If you're looking for a steal in this draft, someone who has an NBA-ready body, someone with an NBA-ready skill set, spending 2 years at Michigan State, and he didn't necessarily get better numbers-wise,
right,
but he stayed the same when his role changed. So I think that does mean that he improved. It's just his role and opportunity was a little bit different his sophomore season. I think Bridges would be a very intriguing fit next to Lauri Markkanen.
Okay, so Bridges goes to the Bulls. Kevin, who would you have taken in that spot if not Bridges?
I would be thinking about Michael Porter right there from Missouri. Granted, he needs to prove that the medical's fine. That's the big question with him. If it's not, he's going to fall in this draft. But if it's good, he could easily be a 5th, 6th, or 7th player taken in the draft. Porter's scoring ability, to me, would really add another dimension that would enhance Lauri Markkanen, his own scoring ability, while also providing a little bit more of a go-to scoring presence, more so than Markkanen is.
Okay, so we have the Cavs coming up on the board. Who knows what they're going to do this offseason? All we know is J.R. Smith is going to be back there because nobody wants him. Kev, who would you want for the Cavs here at 8?
Give me Wendell Carter.
Okay.
Carter's a guy who, offensively, he can pass, he can space the floor to 3, he can rim run a little bit. He's a high IQ player, hardworking player, better defensively than I think he gets credit for. Whether or not LeBron James comes back, I don't think you can make this choice trying to appease LeBron. Right. You need to be thinking about post-LeBron, whether that's this summer or 4 years from now.
Seems like the end of the Tristan Thompson era.
Yeah, I was just going to say there. Do you think LeBron would allow that if he's still there? I guess we'll turn to the Knicks here at 9. They can go pretty much anywhere. Kristaps, who knows if he's going to be back next season. They already went guard last year. Do they go guard again here?
You know what? Let's double up on the scoring big man with huge injury risks. Michael Porter Jr.
Okay, I like it.
I love it.
Look, it's Madison Square Garden. They need a star-type presence, and that's kind of who Michael Porter projects to be. He's arguably the purest offensive player in the draft, 6'11", has guard-like skills creating off the dribble. That's a lot of talent that's undeniable.
I'm worried about his ball handling, to be honest with you. I think Porter is a guy who has a go-to scoring potential, and I think he does deserve to go in the top 10 for sure. And like we just talked about him in regards to the Bulls, but I do think he needs to go a long way with his ball handling ability in order to become the go-to scorer that he clearly can become.
Luckily, they have point guard of the future, Emmanuel Mudiay, already in-house. So, Philadelphia 76ers, obviously a lot of ways to go there. They had a successful season this year. They're back into the lottery this year. Where do you want to go with them?
Give me Lonnie Walker, Justin.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Lonnie Walker. I think Mikal Bridges is going to be a popular selection here.
Right
a lot
there.
of Sixers fans want him. But Lonnie Walker's 2 to 3 years younger at this point. He's a superior athlete. He's better than Bridges was at the same age. And he's a terrific shooter as well. I think Lonnie is an upside pick for Philadelphia while also providing some of the skills that can help them immediately on both ends of the floor.
So Charlotte Hornets, who knows what's going to happen with them? They have a completely new front office, have a new coaching staff, still have Kemba Walker, who's incredible. Where do they go here, Danny?
I think they're probably looking for their next Kemba Walker replacement.
Oh, that hurts.
Actually.
That hurts.
So I would go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander here.
Okay.
6'6" point guard, extremely long, extremely defensively active, has a little bit of that. Now, I don't want to overblow this, but his main skill in my mind is his ability to decelerate. All along the lines of like James Harden.
Right.
This guy is a foul magnet. He just knows how to play the game. He knows how to play at his own pace. This guy is a very safe, a guy who can do a lot of different things on the basketball court. And he's, gets to play next to Malik Monk.
And he can defend.
Yes.
really defend.
Which Malik Monk specifically needs.
Yes.
So the Clippers are up here in 12 and 13. Let's give the first one to KOC, and then Danny can finish it off. But obviously they're going to work in conjunction. But who would you go with this first one?
With the expectation that Danny's going to select Mikal Bridges, I'm going with Troy Brown.
Okay. You want to drive down the Bridges price for future negotiations, maybe.
Troy Brown is an intriguing player. Really young, really hardworking. Needs to improve his jump shot. That's the key thing for him. But everything else is pretty much there in terms of ball handling ability, athleticism, defensive upside, and mindset. He really grinds on the defensive end of the floor. I think Troy Brown is the type of versatile player that's really, really valued in today's league.
So the next Clippers pick, obviously we're going with the Bridge Eye, the lone Bridge Eye left on the board?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say so. He is almost the archetypal 3-and-D player. You're not looking at him as a guy who's going to be creating a lot of his own offense, but he's a guy with extremely long arms, active on defense, can hit that three. He's improved his three-point shooting every single year he's been at Villanova, and he's clearly a hard worker.
Right, and a little bit older, so maybe if they're going to go for it this next season, helps them a little bit more immediately. All right, Denver Nuggets, last pick on the board. KOC.
Denver obviously has a lot of guards on their roster, but I'm going with Collin Sexton anyway.
Okay.
And primary reason why is because if you're Denver, it's the best player available pick this summer for Denver, but it's also a position of need because Will Barton is a free agent, and they're already going to have to pay Nikola Jokic in all likelihood. Sexton can defend. He's really gritty, plays his ass off. I think Sexton, at this point, could easily be a steal.
All right, that's it for the Ringers Mock Draft 2.0. That's one more than 1.0. Check out these guys on theringer.com. Check out the Ringers Draft Guide and everything that we're going to do over the next couple weeks.